And we are taught from day one, at the end of the course, you'll speak the common language of international maritime law.
Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where I meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Dear Shipping Podcast lovers, welcome to the 125th episode of the Shipping Podcast and the 60th female guest. I will be introducing you to Elda Kazara Belja. She's a lecturer and the admissions officer at the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, IMLI, who I met at the IMO in London late June this year. The IMLI is a world-recognized center for the training of law graduates in international maritime law. Special emphasis is given to international regulations adopted by the International Maritime Organization, which you will hear more about from Elda. I hope you enjoy listening to Elda as much as I did making her acquaintance. This is Elda Kazara Belja for you. Welcome to the Shipping Podcast. Could you please introduce yourself?
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. My name is Elda Kazara Belja. I am a lecturer at the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, IMLI, located in Malta. The institute was established under the auspices of the International Maritime Organization in 1988, and we are celebrating tomorrow 30 years in the service of the rule of international maritime law.
And what is your background?
My background is in law. I studied law at University of Athens, and then I returned to Albania to work for the Ministry of Transport, the Department of Maritime Affairs. In 2007, the department received a call for applications to IMLI's Master of Laws program, which is designated to train lawyers in international maritime law. I was nominated by my government and enrolled in the program. Completed the program in 2008 with a master's degree in international maritime law, thanks to the insistence of the institute to enhance capacity in Albania and to the generous funding of the Nippon Foundation.
Oh, how great. How great.
Yes, it was a fantastic experience.
Why did you choose the maritime law?
I studied law in Greece, which is a nation that has a great maritime tradition. And while I was studying, I took optional credits, maritime law, shipping law credits. And when I returned to Albania, I was working for a law firm, private law firm, and there was this call from the public service that were recruiting lawyers. And I have to admit, I was hoping that I'll be recruited by the Department of Procurement. Someone else with better qualifications got that position, but considering my educational background, the Ministry of Transport established a new position for a junior legal advisor to the Maritime Department. I said, wow, it is meant to be, considering my optional credits. And I was fortunate enough to work with a gentleman called Shkeltim Gjagiu, who instilled the passion. And then I came to IMLI and everything changed forever.
Talk to me about IMLI.
Oh, well, I get emotional talking about IMLI for many reasons. First, because I was the first Albanian lawyer to benefit from the IMLI training. IMLI had insisted on having a lawyer from Albania for many years, but the time perhaps was not right, or the right person was not found at that time that would have the vocation towards maritime law. So when I was admitted, I was very, very happy because I felt that, yes, it is the mission of IMLI that actually made it so interesting, because it is to train government, mostly government officials, so that they can go back to their countries and they can actually enhance the expertise, that can create that necessary national expertise that will be able to understand the rule of international maritime law and implement the same. And I always say that it was a completely new world opened to me. Although you are a civil servant and you are working in the environment, you still feel that when you go to IMLI, then you realize how everything comes together, because the all-encompassing training, both private and public, marine environmental law, maritime security law. And the most important thing in the department, I was a legal drafter. And the Institute has an entire component that is dedicated to the maritime legislation drafting. As part of the requirements for the award of the degree, we need to produce a draft law that implements an IMO instrument into our domestic legislation. So having this guided practice and this exercise, and I had a fantastic mentor who guided me, Professor Martinez, who guided me into the techniques on I remember I did the Bankers Convention. So what is the Banker Convention, why Albania needs it, and more importantly, what Albania needs to implement into domestic law, what we should avail of other options that the convention gives, and what is the interaction with other instruments was very, very important. And it became a law in Albania a few years later. So it was very important. And it is the multicultural environment. IMLI brings students from all over the world that speak different language, have different legal backgrounds, but they come together and create this fraternity that is so important. And we are taught from day one, at the end of the course, you'll speak the common language of international maritime law.
And where is it based?
It is based in Malta. It was established in 1988. At that time, the IMO had been very successful in adopting several international instruments, but it was identified that countries were lacking the capacity to implement these instruments into domestic legislation. So the institute was established to train these professionals and to create the necessary expertise locally so that we don't have to rely on foreign consultancies exclusively, but countries can rely on national expertise to understand IMO instruments and other international instruments and adequately implement and enforce them into domestic law. And that was a very important step. We celebrate tomorrow 30 years since the establishment in the beautiful island of Malta.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes.
How many people are you expecting to come there?
Tomorrow there will be representatives of the member states that are currently attending the Technical Cooperation Committee, and we will be very honored because the Prime Minister of the Republic of Malta will grace the occasion. It will be opened by the Secretary General of the IMO, and we'll have around 100 alumni of IMLI. IMLI is an institute that has trained over 1,000 professionals from 146 states and territories. So tomorrow there will be a lot of gathering of alumni, and we couldn't be prouder of their achievements.
I can understand that. So how is the percentage between men and women?
Okay, this is the question that I'm the happiest to answer. Because when it was established in 1988, the Institute introduced in its statute for the first time within the United Nations system a policy that 50% of the places in the Institute's programs will be reserved for deserving women candidates. And this policy, I have to say that it has actually reaped rewards. It is paying off. It started slowly at the very first years because even the number of students was actually smaller. So we had more male participants than female participants. But now we are changing. We are turning the tables. And in the last years, more female students than male students are actually participating in our programs. And indeed, it is something that we are very proud of. We have promoted this policy. We had remained faithful to our values. And we are grateful to the vision of the founding fathers of IMLI and Professor Tadwi is the director who believed strongly in this policy. And I'm very happy also to say that the academic faculty of IMLI is 50% represented by women. And at the moment, female participation is really catching up with male participation. We are 40% to 60% currently, which is a very good achievement.
Definitely. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
So what countries are predominantly people coming from?
We are, I would say that at the moment, 146 states is a very, very good representation. And we are very, very happy to see that even countries that some would think would not have an interest in maritime affairs, like landlocked countries, have had a very good representation being Switzerland or Mongolia or countries in Africa like Uganda or other countries. So we are very good. The representation, we have been represented very well. For example, in South America, with the exception of Paraguay, I invite them to nominate a lawyer, preferably a female lawyer. In South America, for example, all countries have been represented at IMLI. So it has the United States of America, Canada, in Central America and the Caribbean, a very, very good representation in Africa, in Europe. I think we have done very well.
Yeah, sounds like the United Nations, but in a small
island. We are very happy to say that we are a mini United Nations every year. And indeed, as soon as you enter the IMLI foyer, there is a practice established that the students of each year will raise their flag, and their flag will be raised for the entire year, so that they will always be proud of the country they represent. And when they go, they are the best ambassadors of the Institute.
How do you see shipping in the future in general?
I think there is a lot of hope in shipping in the future. And I don't want to sound biased, but I think that it is so good that it's opening up to female participation. I think that integrating women in the maritime industry is a very, very important step. And it should have perhaps taken place a bit earlier, but it's better late than never. And I am very, very proud to say that I see the women that have been trained at IMLI, and they give me the hope. You will see that, for example, there are many, many success stories of female IMLI alumni. The prosecutor general of the International Criminal Court is an IMLI alumni. I have Mrs. Nancy Karigitu, who was appointed in 2011-2012 as the chairman of the Technical Cooperation Committee, who is an IMLI alumni. I have many representatives tomorrow, this week at the Technical Cooperation Committee, who are IMLI alumni. That is very important. Dr. Dorota Losimiska, who is a deputy director here at IMO at the Legal Affairs Division. She's an IMLI alumna. And I think this integration has helped a lot. And it is also making everyone more aware of the importance of diversity, of respect. We are seeing more being heard, human rights at sea in many aspects. I see shipping hopeful as well, because I think that I see it from my perspective, and the cadre of experts that we are generating are helping and raising awareness on the importance of upholding the rule of law, promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, gender equality, sustainable development, sustainable use of the resources. There are many challenges. We cannot just be in denial and say that there are no challenges. There are many challenges, but I have to see the glass half full. And with the students that are being trained from our institutions and the buzz that we are creating, I do have hope for shipping. It's interconnecting the world, so we have to believe in that.
So how can we raise the profile for shipping to the general public? They don't know about us.
I think that we can do so, and we are doing so. It is so important that that's why I like very much these activities that are being organized everywhere to actually emphasize that it starts with it may start as a trickle, but it will become actually quite a powerful river eventually. And I think that we should not be afraid to talk about it, and we should be more important. We should highlight what is important. We should look at shipping positively and make known to the world the positivity of every activity. We should remind everyone. We should support each other. And it is, I think, we just shouldn't be afraid to be out there and talk about it. And we shouldn't focus on, sometimes it's so unfortunate that shipping has come to the attention of many because of an incident. But we have to raise awareness of what is positive about it. And we can do that if we come together. I really like what you are doing for women. And women in shipping brings shipping to a very good light. It brings, actually, it shows how positive shipping can be. I was so proud to host this year a seminar empowering women in maritime affairs at the Institute. The Institute hosted We had the first female seafarer, master, that spoke to us. And then you see that, yes, there are challenges, but if we agree and if we are determined to overcome them, then we can do a better shipping for our future generations.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did you have a role model growing up?
I think sometimes we should remember unsung heroes. My role model was my mother. She was an orphan, and she had a very, very difficult childhood. But throughout, she had to work at the age of 13. And of course, reduced hours because, but she had to start earning a living so that she could help her family at the age of 13. And she believed so strongly in education that she had to work in the morning and to enroll in evening schools. And she managed to graduate with 2 university degrees.
Wow, yeah.
And then I have to say that my role model is my father as well. Because he is the kind of man who believes that women are as good as men. And my mother managed to complete her second education, university degrees, when she was married to my father and had 2 daughters. So, and I'm very happy I have to say that as you grow, you have many women role models, and at IMLI I have seen them, many. I have seen my students who came to IMLI, found out that they were pregnant, but they said still education is important, and they came top of their class. I found women who came from a background which is male-dominated, but they still wanted to empower themselves and to be a facilitator to empower other women. And I found as inspiring women, every student of mine is an aspiring human being because they have all overcome challenge to be there. Some have had it easier, some of that had it much harder. But I find women very inspiring who do decide that they need to be empowered to empower future generations. And at IMLI I have seen many of them. And I'm also inspired by men who are not afraid to empower women. I wouldn't be here if I did not have the support of my husband. I wouldn't be here if my father hadn't believed so much in me, my sister. My sister has 2 PhDs, and he supported her throughout. And I'm inspired by women like you who give us a platform. By Helen Booney, who insists for us to have a voice to be heard. By Professor Attard and my colleagues at IMLI, Professor Martinez, Dr. Buba Bojang, Dr. Jimenez, Ms. Dolic, Mr. Ruhal, who believe that it does not matter what is your gender. What matters is what's your merit. There are many. We can find inspiration by many.
Yes, we can.
We have just to look.
Yes.
And to focus on what we can take from these people. So yes, you inspire me for giving me this platform to mention all the amazing women. I cannot mention them by name, but they know who they are. They have graduated from the institute and they've gone out and they have believed that the sky is the limit and they are reaching for it.
Who do you think I should interview the next? Who would you be interested in listening to?
I would love listening to Helen Booney.
She's coming up.
I would love to listen to Helen Booney for a simple reason that women like her inspire you because they believe in the cause so much. And we have to listen to Helen carefully. Helen doesn't believe that women are better than men. Helen simply believes that women should find that rightful place based on what their merit is. And she believes that we have to give that platform to them. And that is very, very important. There are many. I would like to hear the voice of those women who have gone through challenges. And I would like to inspire me how they have overcome them. Or you can. There are many of them. I would like to hear your voice as well. Having interviewed so many women.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Best of luck with your anniversary.
Oh, thank you very much. We celebrate 30 years and I hope IMLI will celebrate many, many, many more.
So do I. Thank you. Thank you, Elda, for your positive energy, which is contagious. And congratulations with the 30th anniversary. I hear it all went very well. As you might have heard in some previous episode, I have spent the last 5 weeks in a podcasting coaching class. I have made a lot of thinking about the shipping podcast, how I can develop it, and maybe change the format a little bit. And now I have a plan. Of course, I know that I cannot change too much too quickly. I have a responsibility towards the more than 6,000 listeners per month that is following this podcast. And the changes will not happen overnight. But my trust is with you, the listeners, to follow me on my journey to make this platform for the maritime voices even better. So if you have any suggestions, now is the time, because I'm making the plans for 2020. Do you have any guests that you would want to listen to? I know that I have a top 10 list of people that I want to sit down and have a chat with. But do you have one? Do you want to share it with me? Drop me an email on hello@shippingpodcast.com and I will see what I can do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for all your support. I don't take it for granted. Until the next time, from me to you, over and out. Thank you for listening to the Shipping Podcast. Don't forget to tell everyone that you meet that there is a shipping podcast available and that they should download it and listen to the maritime professionals who are sharing their passion for the shipping industry.